So, in every, this is about today. I didn't mention this, but my godmother was a huge advocate for PTA and passed away, and so we're dedicating this training to her because she's so, say, yes, get parents involved. We do rules of engagement. Change does believe that this is one of the actual important things to communicate in every meeting, because when you're advocating and speaking about your child, it becomes, you know, part of like religion and politics. It's super, you know, personal to you, and we just ask that everybody really agree to disagree, allow people to have their opinions, and to be kind that, you know, not everybody's situation is the same, and that we just ask that in an environment where change gets together, that we're all willing to understand that we're there for the common goal of our children. So we ask for no, you know, over talking everybody, screaming, doing anything that would be unbeknownst of proper behavior. This is the acronym. It's to collaborate, you know, harmoniously. The best of we do agree that there will be disagreements, but to do it as harmoniously as possible, and to achieve new growth in schools and keep up with our kids' moving target of education, because education has become a moving target. It has exploded with technology, and there's going to be a representative who's going to talk to us about how we get to track that, the degree with using technology, but to understand that it's going to change really quickly and more frequently than we have ever thought before. A little bit about myself. I'm a mom. My son was at Edgewood and at Worthington Hooker. He's at Common Ground now. I am a community advocate for Cedar Hill, New Haven. I have lived in New Haven for about 14 years. I'm a homeowner in New Haven. I'm a full-time employee for 15 years in Sikorsky Aircraft. And I'm a board member for the Hispanic League Forum, and I'm a graduate from the New Haven, University of New Haven for leadership and a master's in leadership. I say that so that you can see that there's just, I wear different hats, and in different hats I have different communications. You'll see me in different arenas, and it's always collaboration in all of those arenas. This is the org chart. I'm going to just go by that because we're not recruiting. So we talk about stakeholders. So I'm going to consider everybody in the room a stakeholder, because everybody in the room has a vested interest in education in one avenue or another. Whether you're continuing your education, whether you're engaging and funneling our students through the educational process, or people who advocate or are being a tool in their community to be able to talk to kids to keep them engaged in education, whether it's formal education or in primary education. And for me, there's a legacy to grandparents being part of that conversation. I think that kids sometimes bypass their parents and they go to other people in their community or in their homes, and I think that everybody in the home knowing the situation only strengthens us as a unit. So stakeholders is everybody: teachers, students, parents, school authorities, the policymakers, trainers, academic researchers, people who are looking to increase what we don't know already. And for future students that are graduating now, they're really the Gen Zs or the Gen Ys. Which one are you guys?
Z.
Gen Zs that will be the next to come into the workforce. Again, everybody can participate. Then this is our mission, and it's our mission to continuously grow and build a foundation that is cohesive. Is that going to be pretty? I'm not naive to think that that's going to be pretty. It's not. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of coming to the table. It's going to be a lot of disagreements and a lot of trying to get people to understand, from policymakers to administrators to teachers in the classroom. If you have a child who has a 504 and you know that your child is struggling and the teacher isn't going to the 504 in a way that you feel that it's really working for you, and if you don't know what a 504 is, some students have IDPs and 504s, which means that they have an academic structure that's based on a medical need. And so there's a lot of special education and other components that if you wind up with your child somewhere down the line that needs extra help, and you wind up with a 504, you really want your teacher to be able to understand the 504 process and be able to work with you in either giving them more time, giving them a different way of learning, figuring out how that process goes, and you want to be able to have a point of contact in the district that you can speak to in order to get those things facilitated. So we want to be a part of that collaboration, one way or another. Our current goals, which is like today, helping research Parent University. This was dormant for a couple of years in New Haven. There's some actual, 2 people that were the founders of Parent University downstairs were helping with registration that believe that the researching of getting a pipeline of everybody getting the information on a certain day and just getting people to be able to know each other is important, because it's really hard to get 27,000 students to get what they need if you do it in 27 different avenues. So we're really trying to pipeline getting you the information that you need on certain days and certain times so that we can help educate people in groups. It's just really harder to do it really one-on-one with such a big district that we're in. Change has subcommittees, and again, talking about going to Washington, going to Hartford, building and strengthening the 40-plus schools that New Haven has, to build PTAs and PTOs in each school. So if your school has a PTA and PTO, I encourage you to please join that PTA or PTO one way or another. If your school does not have a PTA and PTO, and you find that there's an opportunity that we can come in and help them build that, Change is willing to come into the school and help build it. We give you a 1-year kind of, I would say, agreement that we come into your school for a year, we help you build it, and then we launch you onto yourselves. But you get us, you get other people and other PTAs from the schools that are willing to participate and help you guys build a model if your school doesn't have that currently. Currently, we only have maybe 14 PTAs and PTOs, so we need to ramp them up at the moment. And we focus on STEAM, anything that's related to science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. That's our focus. We do not necessarily focus on social and emotional learning, but we do focus on the arts. We believe that art is an avenue that's extremely important for children's learning. And just like now, one of our board members left, Nico, he was here. He's actually a student in this classroom, and this classroom does graphic design. And it's amazing what they've built. In these boxes are robots. Wow. They're building robots. Like, to me, that's just a certain part of technology that really has exploded, and we really need to be a part of it. And parents need to understand what our kids are doing in the classroom. My kids, I can't tell you that I can help my kid build a robot. So how I advocate and help him build that robot is important. So Change, again, I'm just repeating these things. We are encouraging and supporting and engaging parents in all the New Haven schools. We're helping with legislation. We're helping participate in fundraising. Some of the fundraising we do is to do a gap grant for parents that want to send their kids to camp and don't have the money, like, because you have to pay for camp like a little bit before camp really starts. So we try to do a grant for that. We want to organize teachers in fundraising for things that they need for the classroom. You'll see GoFundMe pages go up for classroom needs for Chromebooks and things of that nature. They go directly to the classroom where they don't have to go through the system, and it's a way to get what the classroom needs at a more speedier, I don't want to say circumvent, but to get the classroom what they need. Parents are planting their kids and planting the seeds in the environment. So we ask that parents participate in growing our students. There are going to be our trees and funded, rooted in our communities, whether they stay in Connecticut or leave Connecticut. They are going to be the next generation for the workforce. And then people always ask, how does this work and what does this look like? This, it's not super expensive, but there is an annual fee. It's $10 a year. I will explain to you what the money goes to in a second. There's different ways you can do this. You can do this $1 a month, which would be $12 a year if you don't want to do it all up front with the $10 a year. We help, if you can't do the $10 the first year, we have sponsors that will sponsor you for 1 year, but then the agreement is that you will help sponsor the next parent that can't do it. So year 0 is 0 for you. You get the help, you get a sponsor, but then you pay for 10, and then you help sponsor somebody else, so that we keep the hands helping one another in the structure. If you can't do any of those others, you do 100 box tops per family for the academic year. Anybody can participate. You don't have to be in the New Haven public school system. It doesn't have to be a parent. It could be a grandparent. It could be an uncle. It could be your business. Your business could sponsor other parents in the district. So we're flexible. It's easy. And then we're on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. What other schools do? Do charters do something really well that we can pick up and learn? That we bridge, and we are all at the table, and they're willing to share the information. No one's keeping the information to themselves, and the people that come to change have been willing to give their information freely and talk about it. You as a parent, if you have an issue and you need us to represent you in any situation, you're more than willing to take our cards. Call us. Somebody from the team, considering of what the issue is, will go with you and help navigate you through the system, and get you in front of the people that you need to get a problem resolved. Or to get you to say something really good about your school. You haven't noticed that your teacher is getting any accolades. You didn't notice that your principal didn't get any funding, but she should, because she's a rock star and she's got, there's some really good teachers in New Haven, and they don't get enough recognition. Parents raise their hand and talk about this, and we get those teachers recognized, because it's important that teachers also get recognized in the school system for what they do well as what we don't do well. So that's my spiel for change, and if you have any questions, this is a question period that we can get questions asked.
Well, go ahead.
How long have you been doing it?
So change is kind of muted a little bit. I was the vice president of CPT at one point, and then saw the need that we needed to collaborate, so I broke off 3 years ago. So we've been quietly working for about 3 years.
What's CPT?
Citywide parent team.
Oh, does that still exist?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You'll hear Ife Waters on the robocalls.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the CPT is the, I'm sorry, that's the, what's the?
Citywide
Oh,
parent
citywide.
team.
Right. Okay. So that's like the citywide PTO, is that what it is?
In inception, it was supposed to,
Be like that.
right.
Citywide parent team. Okay. I'm sorry, I came late, so I.
No, you came in when we were just introducing ourselves.
Oh, okay, we kind of ran late over there on the other side. But, so, I'm sorry, so when I look at this, it's, where's, I'm lost here, engaging New Haven Public School via parent groups and technology.
Mhm.
So, is this the one central way we engage other parent groups in technology?
Well, he's going to speak about the technology piece, because we believe that parents knowing about Power School, which is the technology tool that we utilize, is super important.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, speaking of that, I made a note. I was just at the one about colleges or about haircut, and I made a note to myself here. I heard that phrase "Power School." This would be the 7th time, and
Yes, so you're going to learn about that.
okay, all right, then I'll wait for this.
Yeah.
All right.
So the reason why we're partnering, and I think Danny's idea was that, how do I get information? So when she walked in the door, the first thing she said to me was her son was so engaged at his high school that he was going to learn about 3D printing. And then they lost their funding, or they lost their structure, or they changed their structure, and now her son is no longer doing that. And so I offered her an opportunity that we find out information and we communicate the information out. Her son could still do a program outside of the school at a New Haven public library, or I was wondering, why didn't you change him to ESUMS or to a school that was doing that? And that's private. I'm just saying that there's opportunity that if your child changes their direction, or they have a love of something, the beauty of New Haven is that they have real specialized school. So if you see that in high school for 9th grade that is changing, or the school changed, put yourself back into the lottery system.
Yeah.
Because people move, New Haven's very transient, and there will be opportunities. don't feel that you're stuck in your neighborhood school because it's your neighborhood school. Give yourself the opportunity that if you see that your child, and there's a part that he says in his presentation, the first one that I will take with me, that the Power School will give you an opportunity to start seeing the strengths and weaknesses of your student. And to me, now that I'm, my student is in ninth grade, so now I'm like in the midst of getting him job ready in a couple of years, that'll go quickly. That's an opportunity to now look at what I wanted for him, maybe to see what his strengths are. And so using technology to really get to see my student as an individual is kind of eye-opening for me, because I would think that I had the direction of where my kid goes. Maybe that's really not it. Maybe it is to see where he's really strong. He might be really strong in science, and I'm like, maybe I need to relook at this. Maybe I propose something else, or maybe I engage him in other after-school programs that does different things. So you contact with me, we will find another 3D program, because I know that there's 3D programs, because to me, it is important that your son doesn't feel let down, and that he really gets to do something that he loves. Kids that do stuff that they love are less likely to get in trouble, are less in the streets, and doing more things that keep their community cleaner, safer, and it helps us all together. So think out of the box in the sense that you're in a neighborhood school, but that doesn't necessarily have to be your life. You can throw yourself back into the lottery system every year, and there may be a different school that your kid can go to with the space available.
We did that. Eason's had he got accepted, I think a couple of weeks after he was in J-Loss. Eason's because the problems that developed a few years ago at Eason's, and he was like, oh, never mind, Mom, I think I want to go. You hear all the news? And I was like, so what do you want to do? He was like, they got uniforms too, and all those problems they're having there. Well, you remember the problems that they had at Eason's, so he didn't want to go for those reasons.
And sometimes, you can do a walkthrough, and you can do a visit, and you can do a tour, and some things that are happening in the past are just after in the past. And
Yeah,
so
that's why I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, I went to school with the principal, trust me. I think she's got it all under control. And he's like, I don't know, Mom, you want me to be a victim or you want me to do good in school? And I'm like,
no, but these are honest conversations.
And
These are
really-
honest
And
conversations.
that's what I try to do is have, when I was at the Board of Ed, one of the things that I was fortunate enough was to have really, really great people there who told me to keep opening the conversations. And, that was the benefit that I took from the Board of Ed is they gave me really great tools on parenting. And everything I took from Parent University and all those things, I tried to carry those on, but I was like, okay, now how do I do this part? Because I didn't know how to do that part. It's like, what do I do this part now?
I'm glad you said that, because the other thing too, our kids don't come with handbooks.
Yeah.
And we're really, really busy, and we really need to, as a district, figure out how we get you guys information.
Okay.
And it is with you guys telling me what you need for me to go speak for you and say, hey, what I proposed is that we come up with a legacy center, which means that the information gets all funneled into this one system, and if you need to look something up, you go into the search bar and you say summer camps, and then it drops down, and we have a summer camp expo, we have summer camp partners, they're downstairs in the room today. There were people from Schubert Camp, the YMCA, and so that you guys get to know when these things are. Now, is this module built yet? No, but it's for me to continue advocating for, we need to get a legacy center so that stuff that was in the past that was recreated and worked really well we keep, and where parents can go using the tool, which I think that we should use the app, and put all the information in the app that happens, that touches our student, so that it's a one-point source and one-point situation where our parents can figure it out. Now, does that conversation end with me just asking? It doesn't. It really takes me to start to ask continuously and to say, this is the parents that asked, and if parents join and parents communicate to other faculty members, and then we figure out what is the best cost, because there's a cost to everything, and how do we build a model? How do we build a model that's that's inexpensive but it's effective? And so there's a lot of things that happen behind the grounds that you don't see, but New Haven is amazing in trying to get it done. And Parent University is just one tool, and it's the only way right now that we can think of that we can get you guys information together and get people together. Today's a bad day because they have a lot of things going on in the city today, but we'll try again and we'll do another one and we'll pick out things that you guys want us to give you classes on, and we'll figure out a teacher for it, you know?
So is this is this like a one resource center that you're talking about? Because there are questions that a lot of parents have and just don't know how to maneuver to get to this particular place.
So I would say yes, because it's very hard to just continuously call one avenue and not be able to get the phone call back
Right.
or be able to. So I would say, come send me an email. I will forward the email to who it needs to be sent to, CCing you on the email and launching that person's responsibility to getting back to you on the issue. And the reason why I like to be the source is because then I gather multiple people on the same issue and say, hey, there was 20 of us that were really interested in this. You want to do something together? And that's how it starts. Just a few people that wanted to do something that have the same kind of interest, and that's how we propose something, and that's how we can actually form change. That's the reason for it, that we really start to look at our rolling target. Our students' education is literally a rolling target, and how we kind of navigate for that. You had a question?
No,
Did you have?
Yeah, I was just thinking, just wanted to comment the fact that I really do think that the communication part is really the most important thing. We've only been in New Haven, has been less than 4 years. And, I found value in this conversation due to the fact that I don't know a lot of the schools and all these other things. So I'm just curious as to know if your website, do you have like panelists? Do you also push out information like the district does, or?
For change itself?
Well, yeah, exactly, like what you're doing or
You
whatever.
guys I'm your tool. Whatever you need, I will add it to the website if that's what you need. I think that the app getting to be the source is probably the better direction to go, so that different parents can do it, because I don't know if all parents know about change, but all parents know about the New Haven Public School app, and so I think that that's the better direction, and it's a better communication tool that if you go to one source, you don't have to go to change and then you have to go over to this one and you have to go to that one. I'm trying to make your life as easy as possible. So I will continuously say we need to do communication through the app. I don't know, do you guys think that the robocalls are informative? Are you okay with the robocalls, or would you like things through email, or do you want things through the app?
Well, I think everybody's different. I actually like the emails,
Okay.
because I can read emails when I want to.
Right, right.
Like, seriously, I think that works better for me. But someone else may have a different style. I personally don't want to spend that much time on my phone. It's just not my preference. So for me, like a panelist and maybe some information coming out is how I then put
Or a
everything on
newsletter.
there, right, or something. It doesn't have to be as formal as a newsletter, but something that's saying, oh, this event is going on, if you're interested in something like this, something that somebody puts together. I'm not necessarily interested so much in how fancy it looks. I'm interested in the information.
So are you on Facebook?
No, I'm not. I'm not on social media, which a lot of parents aren't anymore too.
I know, so
Yeah.
here's what I will tell you. I know people are uncomfortable with technology, but I'm gonna tell you that Facebook has been the actual tool. If it's not an app, if it's not a Power School, it's going to be another kind of tool that is going to have an interface. And the reason why I say Facebook is because Facebook has a feature that's called Facebook Events.
Oh.
And what happens is you can scroll on Facebook Events. You don't have to do it for any other reason but events. And events, all of us put into the Facebook Events. So today, if you would have plugged into Facebook Events, you would have saw Parent University from me, you would have saw it from the New Haven Public School System, you would have saw it from CPT, you would have saw it from other venues. The CCAP would have probably advertised it. So Facebook has a feature that you can do drop downs and you can find out what's going on in Common Ground, in other schools. East Rock publicizes their things on Facebook. Worthington Hooker, so your school, and I don't know if your individual schools do too, you can go to the event page and it'll tell you what's coming up. And you can actually set it up for a week at a glance and it'll tell you what's going on for the whole week. So we may not be doing that, but we do that through that tool because that's another tool that we can cast our net and catch more people, because if we don't reach you, talking to you face to face, you're gonna stumble upon me, or I'm gonna stumble upon you in a social media forum. So, I know it is what it is. I mean, if I don't have to live by it, I would just, but it is what it is. And so, and you might change your mind when you start looking at what he's gonna talk about in the next few minutes, because you're gonna see that there's gonna be power in understanding the toolbox.
I have a question, but I'll wait until his presentation is done.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn us to, Jim, and we're gonna launch off the Power School.
Got a sign-in sheet, and there's a trifold
Pamphlet.
over, if you take one of those. I'm project leader within the IT department of the Board of Ed. My contacts are counselors, not so much teachers, but principals, library media specialists, and the technical support for teachers goes to the counselors or the library media specialists, and then it's to me, because I can't get inundated with 2,700 teachers. We also support the nurses and hygienists that we have, social workers, and I create all the user accounts for the system. Parents, you be creating your own user accounts. You go onto the NHPS.net website. There's a thing for teacher, parent resources and student resources, and there's where you can create a user account for yourself. Skip over that. So, Power School, it's a software application, a suite of tools. It's also the company that first founded. They changed the company name, but it's very widespread. You know, you might just be hearing about it here now, but it's in many cities and towns of Connecticut. The state kind of requires it if they're going to roll up and have state support. They want to get reports on performance. And when I was developing this, I was browsing around the Power School support site and noticed that they have user groups that were special to certain organizations that might have specific needs or changes. So there's Asian, Catholic, European, and I think more or less that, I don't know if that's if the people who join those, probably they're more for technical administrators, possibly teachers and counselors, but how to apply their specific situations into the Power School. And these are some of the states that I know Power School is being used at a state level. The biggest value is that it's centralized, it's a common platform. All the schools will use it, all the public schools use it. Slowly, other schools are coming on the past 2 years. Elm City Montessori joined us, and they're getting more in depth. At first, they were just doing attendance and possibly transportation. Every school in New Haven has their transportation information in Power School, but maybe not the grades and attendance. I want to give a little bit of my personal experience with Power School. My son is now 27. He wasn't too serious about high school. You know, we'd ask him, and you got any homework and all these other kind of things, projects. Yeah, no, there's nothing. There wasn't a system officially. There might have been something called Moodle. We didn't have access to it as a parent. So he graduated mediocre grades. His interest was, at the time, video production. No reflection on that technology or focus. But when he got into Central Connecticut State University, he found that he wanted to learn about exercise science. He was always a sports kind of kid, active, and he started working out. A little bit of bodybuilding there, but nothing official. But he graduated with a bachelor's in exercise science. He's currently in Colorado managing a Parisi Speed School facility. He's coaching a track team in Colorado, it's a high school track team. He also coaches a track team from Parisi. Worked at Edge Fitness, taking care of the youngsters while parents worked out. And I put the dollar signs down here as a reflection on, I think, my personal opinion of his financial potential in that market stream, because, you know, so just like a professional sports person, you either get it or you don't, and there's just not a whole breadth of that industry, if you call it that. My daughter, younger daughters, girls always usually perform better in school. She's 21. She was very serious about high school. She wanted perfect attendance. She got bad when she didn't get 4.0. She wanted to go to Yale. Oh my God. And she was looking at other schools that she was eligible for, Villanova, Maryland. She ended up going to Marist at first. Didn't like the people, her fellow students had different priorities than school. And they go clubbing, and that was the girls going there. Her grades were not a problem. But she left Marist and she's in Yukon, and it's more her kind of style. We live in Durham, cows and things like that, you know. Yukon has a bunch of that. She had Power School, and she was able to use it to find out where teachers were missing grades for her or giving an incorrect grade. So her interest now is medical field. She wants to be a physician's assistant. She got a much higher earning potential than my son. Power School is not just about grades. There's attendance information. Parents may not know their students are skipping certain classes or skipping half a day or not going to school at all. There is the attendance is taken. It's available for you to see, so you can ask those kind of questions. You can see what the student's schedule is for that day, what classes he had, because they vary from day to day. No longer is it always going to be Monday, Tuesday, Friday, the same subject. Depends on eight days, B days. There's some crazy stuff that goes on. You're able to see what's going on and what's coming out in a week. I'll show some slides of what some of that looks like. You can actually see the assignments at the assignment level of a class. So usually they break classes into different categories of work. So there's tests, there's classwork, homework, projects, labs, and each of them have different weights within the class. It's up to the teacher. But you can drill into each of those for either specifics. You can see teacher comments. You can, I don't know if it's in the same screener or whatever, but you can get in contact with the teacher about a certain assignment or grade. What I like about it, and I'm not sure how many people use it, it provides a trending capability for seeing your student over the quarters, marking periods, and semesters, even back a year or two, to see whether your student changes off. You know, did something personal happen to them? Are they now in love with somebody and their grades are dropped off? Is there bullying or something else going on? You can at least see the trend. You were doing so good, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't care anymore. So you get that. You have some visibility to possible behavior issues, emotional concerns, trauma. And this is what she was pointing out in my last bullet here, to identify strengths and weaknesses. As an example with my son, he thought he was into video production. we didn't, at that time, we didn't see what he was doing for grades, but I would think with video production, he would have a little more interest in some of the liberal arts, the reading and writing, but that's the foundation of video. Movies and TV programming is all about reading and writing. You can set up to receive alerts and notifications whether there's attendance issues or I think you could actually put in there if he or she gets a failing grade. You have multiple children in the school system. One parent can see all the children and go, not compare the children, but to go through each of their assignments and grades and attendance. You don't have to have a separate account for every child. You could have multiple people looking at the child. In most cases, it'd be like grandma might be watching too. The gentleman in the first session, didn't even have children in here, but he was a member of community group.
Fathers for Education.
Fathers for Education. And then he also mentioned about one of the schools, or a youth program,
Youth SAP, which is part of New Haven.
and
So if your kid is identified of high risk, or you feel that there's an opportunity that you need your child to be identified, to have the school system kind of help them out with extra stuff, you can call the youth department here, and they will send out youth stat. And I will tell you that I had a student that did call, and they said, listen, I'm struggling, this and that, I'm thinking about dropping out. We did call them, and the girl actually texted me back and said, somebody came to my classroom. They literally went to the school, reached out to the girl, asked her what was her needs, spoke to her for a little bit, and apparently she's doing much better because she didn't have her parents really able to advocate for her, but she reached out to one of us, and it works. The system does have something in place, and it does work.
What was the name of the
Youth STAT.
You stack STAT?
STAT.
this tool is free for parents. Doesn't cost anything. Use it. It may be a little technically challenging in the beginning, but you'll see. There's things you just click and you can, find more information.
There's 3 different formats too. You can do desktop, mobile, or the app.
This is so wonderful. How does anybody know any of this stuff?
University right now.
Well, also the schools.
Also, yes,
I
for
think
parent, for report card night, you should be doing this. Actually, for report card night, when you go there, you can actually go, print it out, or have it up on your phone. And if you have any questions, here's your ability to have your data with you at the palm of your hand and say, does it really substantiate a C why were we missing? Because he's going to show you in the next couple of slides how you actually have the power to have a really good, clean conversation with the teacher. It could be that the teacher missed, or that the student didn't put it in, or he put it in late, or you can see an opportunity that he might need, or she might need more help. So
Or they
he's going to show you.
they scrolled one student too far.
Right, because it's sensitive to certain things.
Yeah. You keep on it.
I mean, she or he as a teacher, let's not totally, it's both sides, but the teacher has more than 10 to 20, 30 students. It's multiple assignments, it can get cumbersome. And it's different information that you're putting in there. The attendance goes in there, the transportation goes in there, and the grades, and so there's multiple opportunities